If you've been training for a while now and you're still not seeing much change, not ripped, but you're not exactly muscular either, then I'm going to show you the 5 stages me and our clients went through to turn this around so you actually look like you train. To be honest, we can do better than just looking like we train. I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's a lot of coaches out there who encourage being average. They'll tell you not to aim too high. They'll show you a picture of themselves with abs and they'll go on about how hard it was. Or they'll show you an out of shape picture of themselves and they'll go on about how much happier they are now that they've got balance. I'm not that kind of coach. I want you to push yourself to places you didn't think was possible. I'm not some wake up at 4 a.m. to start my day with gratitude kind of dickhead. I still want you to go out and have a laugh with your mates from time to time. Being in great shape doesn't mean you need to isolate yourself or let yourself go to get there. So if you're not willing to settle for average and you want more than that, then I'll show you exactly how to do it. The first step in this process isn't exactly fun, but it's something all the best people go through, and that's hitting your low point. It's looking at yourself in the mirror and acknowledging that what you're doing isn't working, despite maybe putting in a lot of effort. I've been through this loads of times and it's not always to do with fitness. A few weeks before I got married, I had £500 left in my bank. That was all the money I had in the world, with no sign of any more coming in. I felt like I was getting married at a point in my life where I was a failure, but I got help from someone who was a few steps ahead of me. This is Chris Parks, who's the owner of this gym, and he's the one who's put together our program, Peak Physique, where we help regular guys like yourself get in shape. And I know I've just said this wasn't about fitness, but losing all this weight and focusing on myself during this time changed everything. 3 years later, I'm not rich, but I'm able to provide for my family. I'm still in great shape, and I've got a new little best mate who's going to watch his dad lift weights and look after himself. When you reach your low point, it's awful. You feel hopeless, but once you're done feeling like the world is out to get you, you'll realize it's on you to change it. That doesn't mean you need to do it alone, by the way, but once you realize it's on you to pull yourself out the hole, you'll be filled with a drive that forces you to take action. Now, having this drive to do something is great, but you'll get lost without a map. You know when you're in a park and they've got the board at the entrance that says "You are here"? This is the equivalent of taking your first progress pictures. It's so important you capture this moment. It's the first thing I asked all of these guys to do because it gives you a starting point. From here, you can plan the best route to get you here. Trust me, when you look back on this after you've smashed it, and you will if you follow my advice, you'll be on a high for months. This sounds a bit, but this can genuinely give you the confidence to set you up on a new path in life like it did for me. And not only that, you could inspire someone who was feeling the way you did before you started, which, if you remember, was not a nice place to be. Finding a way out of taking these pictures is you subconsciously preparing for failure. If you notice your brain is trying to justify not taking them right now for some reason, it's a trap. There's a part of you that doesn't want you to succeed. We all have it, but you've got to fight back. So set your phone up, put it on a timer, or just hit record so you can take a screenshot of front, side, and back. Then take one every single week for the next 3 months. Before you think, every week? That's a bit annoying. You can take your picture 12 times, can't you? You probably do that more in one day, taking pictures of your shit lunch. If you want more specifics on transformations, you can sign up to our email where over the next 10 days, I'll give you some insights and ways into changing your physique. Just go to the link after you've watched this. It'll help you lose your first 5 pounds. Cut first or straight to the bulk. If your goal is to build muscle and get bigger, then I often advise people do it from a lean foundation. Don't you dare be one of them people who says I don't want to get too big. Because with a lean or leanish foundation, you can clearly see things changing as you progress, rather than trying to see muscle being built on a body that's quite high in fat. You can't really tell, you just get chunkier. If I was trying to build muscle from here, for example, I didn't like me man boobs and I was in the mindset of I need to build me chest more to fix this, I'd end up looking at myself 6 months down the line after hammering chest work and nothing will have changed. There's too much body fat. Might be a bit stronger, but still, you're not really going to see much difference. Another example from one of our clients, David, is this kind of shape where you aren't muscular, but you're not exactly fat either. People tend to call this skinny fat. You could choose to build muscle from here, and you'd probably notice it better from this kind of shape as opposed to this higher body fat example. But why not do it from this base instead? He's a bit lighter here, by the way, so fat loss done right can make you look more muscular anyway. If you need to lose a bit first, get that done quickly so you can move on to the good stuff. After a successful fat fat loss phase, your body is now in a better position to use the nutrients you give it and put them to use in training and changing your physique even more. This is where the fun begins. When you're training to build muscle, volume and intensity are two key areas you want to focus on. Higher volumes, as in going from this amount of sets per week to this amount, is better for hypertrophy. I used to do 6 to 8 sets a week on calves and think that was enough to grow these skinny, stubborn bastards. It never worked, no matter how hard I pushed them. Now I'm on 16 to 20 sets a week, and finally, I'm seeing an improvement in something I've struggled with my whole life. Same with quads. 3 sets of squats and 3 sets of leg extension on leg day isn't gonna cut it if you wanna grow them. Even doing that twice a week to equal 12 total sets still isn't enough for most of us. Now, everyone has parts of their body which are easier to grow. I must say, I have not had to work hard for these arms at all. They blow up for me quite easily. But my legs have taken years of torture just to get them here. Which brings me on to a good point. Trying to annihilate all your muscles at once and make them grow with loads of volume is tough. That doesn't mean you can't do it. Everything will grow as you put more weight on. But it's good to let muscle groups have priority for a block of time so you can really work on them. So over the next year, I'm going hard with lower body. That doesn't mean I'm slacking off on other things. But for example, my back is a strong point. So I'll only do 2 sets on most back exercises to conserve some overall energy, which can then go into the leg work. One of the biggest reasons why a lot of guys can't change their body is because of this right here. And this is why it's so important you find strong reasons why you're doing this. Because the only way you show up and put your body through this kind of stress is through enjoyment. You've got to love it. I know this looks like the opposite of fun to most, and in the moment, it's uncomfortable, but this is what changes your shape. And I think it's amazing that we can do that. So take your sets close to failure with machines and arms and stuff where you're safe when you finish the rep. Go there every time. Obviously on bench or squats, you've got to be careful, but definitely go close to it. Honestly, this has been a game changer for me and the lads that we work with. So if you want to get on board with us and learn how to transform your body in 12 weeks, just apply below. Now, I know that you know how important nutrition is. Whether the goal is fat loss or the goal is to get big, nutrition dictates whether it's going to happen or not. Trying to be in a calorie deficit all the time limits what you can do in training. In a calorie deficit, you can't handle these volumes or train at these intensities for long. But when you're eating enough food to build new tissue, you can. Training in general is just more fun. You're stronger, you recover better, and the pumps you get when you're full of carbs feel incredible. When I was this lean, the 32 kilogram dumbbells felt heavy. I would barely get an 8 reps. Now I've been eating more and I've put on some size. I'm banging out 20 reps, no problem. Differences like that, week in, week out, will compound into massive changes. I'd argue that gaining weight in the right way is harder than losing it. You've got to spend more time on your phone tracking food. It's more expensive. Sometimes you need to eat when you're not hungry at all. And you still need to eat the right kind of things. You don't want to make this an unhealthy endeavor by eating junk food all the time to hit the calories. I used to make this mistake of changing the way I eat depending on the goal. Whenever I was losing fat, I'd eat loads of fruit and vegetables because these foods are generally low in calories, high in fiber, and they're really good at keeping you full. When you eat this way, you feel good, you feel cleaner and lighter. But when you want to gain weight with the objective of building muscle, the first thing most guys do is stop all that quality nutrition because it gets in the way of eating more calorie dense foods. Giant bowls of sugary cereal take the place of fruit. You no longer pack your meals with veg because you're already eating a huge plate of pasta, and that's hard enough to get down. And because you've got to eat so much, you don't get as creative in making tasty meals which are enjoyable. Eating eventually becomes a chore, and because of the lack of nutrients from less fruit and vegetables, you feel shit. That used to be me, but this time around I've changed how I go about it, and I can see and feel a massive difference. It doesn't matter what phase I'm in, I now eat the same food as I always do, just in higher or lower quantities. Most people don't go through building phases for long enough. With fat loss, you can get in this kind of shape in 8 to 16 weeks. Building takes much longer, which brings us on to rule 6. 99% of guys get trapped in this cycle of building and cutting to the point where everything is mediocre. Nothing stands out. This is what happens. You want to get ripped and look lean and athletic, so you start to cut. But there inevitably comes a time where you feel skinny and it feels like you're losing muscle. So you say, fuck this, let's bulk. But you left before things were about to get good. Now you've started to bulk from a position where you aren't lean enough to see good changes yet. So 3 months into the bulk, you look in the mirror and think, what the fuck is going on? You just look soft, and now you want to have another go at getting ripped, so you start to cut. This is the cycle of being average. You're not going all in on anything. It's all foreplay. There's no shagging involved. You're missing the best bit. The only way you get in this kind of shape is by going all in. You have to accept that there's temporary feelings throughout both of these goals, which make you second guess if it's the right thing to do. This is where having someone in your corner to let you know if you're on track or not really helps. I'm your corner man. With fat loss, you're gonna feel small. If you're experienced, you most likely will lose strength and get weaker, which makes you think you're losing muscle. There might be a lack of support from friends and family where they don't quite understand what you're doing and might see it as a bit extreme. Or another one that's quite common is lads' girlfriends will say they're getting too skinny. I've lost a few good men to this one. You've got to be careful with this one because sometimes this comes from a place of insecurity from the girlfriend. They're not supportive of your goal, they're criticising it. And sometimes, unfortunately, it's because you're looking good and better than yourself. So watch out for that one. Hopefully they support what you're doing, and if they don't, sit down with them and explain the real reasons why you're doing this. Explain to them that you've lost confidence and, you know, whatever it is that you've got going on, just fucking be honest with them. With building muscle, you will eventually lose the abs and look a bit soft around the edges. This puts a lot of people off, but it shouldn't, because it's the best environment to build muscle. Understand that getting a bit fluffy is all part of it. With this recent phase I'm going through, it's taken me 5 weeks to go up 3.5 kg. So that's 0.7 kg a week, which is quite fast, but it is going to slow down as my calorie requirements go up and I struggle to eat more food. Just like fat loss, you should weigh yourself every day so you can see how your body is responding to more food. If you're really hesitant about gaining too much fat, increase body weight at a slower rate of 1 kg a month. In 10 months, you're going to be 10 kg heavier with a lot more muscle on your frame. Whether you can stay consistent and committed over the course of 10 months is a different story. So you really have to believe in what you're doing in order for this to work. And like I said before, you've got to enjoy it. So if you really want to transform how you look and see some big changes, focus on those 6 steps I've just shown you. Follow those and you'll be on your way.